What's happening, YouTube? It's Simon466cards, and today we're going to talk about how I would roll out autopay on eBay. If you haven't heard, eBay is rolling out autopay. It's starting off with some beta testing on auctions. You can see here with PC sports cards, but at some point they're going to expand this to all auctions and probably all buy it nows and best offers and that kind of thing, right? So overall, this is a great idea, right? There's too many unpaid items that need to be relisted because people are putting in bids and shilling and not paying for items. This addresses all of that. So this is all great stuff, but there are a couple of drawbacks to rolling out autopay. And so that made me think, like, autopay in and of itself is a great idea and I would definitely want it for eBay auctions. But are there things that we could do to tweak how this is rolled out to make it better for everybody and to make it even better than just having autopay, so that some of the drawbacks, some of the cons to autopay are then eliminated? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So autopay overall, good idea, but let's get into the details here. So what are the pros and cons of autopay? Well, on that previous screen, we already talked about why we're doing this, right? Too many unpaid items, too much shill bidding, which leads to unpaid auctions, and then you have to relist them, right? So that's the pro. This is good to stop all this stuff. But there are some cons. Cons being, number one, it might not be able to combine shipping, right? If you're automatically billed on your credit card an hour after the auction ends or your offer is accepted or whatever, and you want to combine multiple items into one shipment, then you're going to lose out on those savings. And especially for smaller dollar item cards, this will have a noticeable impact, right? If you're buying 5, 10, 15, 20 items from a seller, rather than paying, $1, $2, or $5 for each item, you just pay one amount to ship all 15 or 20 items. That will save you a lot of money over time. And so that's definitely one of the cons, is if you get billed and each and every time that you win an auction and you have 20 auctions from the same seller, you're gonna have to pay a lot more than you would have currently because you're unable to combine shipping. And maybe there's a way for them to solve for combined shipping at some point, and maybe they have a solution for it. I haven't seen it yet, but it could happen. What it looks like, I'm not sure. But let's assume that there's no way to solve for combined shipping in the short and medium term. Then there's definitely a con to autopay. The second con, and something that I'm going to have to deal with, is that I'm forced to use a credit card and not my PayPal. And this impacts me as someone who doesn't live in the US more so than someone who lives in the US, because then I have to get my US credit card, and some people might not even have a US credit card, in which case, if you use I'm from Canada, if I use a Canadian dollar credit card, I get absolutely destroyed on the exchange rate through a credit card. And I think anybody who's ever traveled outside their country with a credit card, you know what I mean, right? They absolutely just take you to the woodshed on the exchange rate. And so as a result of that, I would have to do some shenanigans where I have a US dollar account in Canada. I also have a US dollar account in the US. I have to move money around from eBay from PayPal to my US bank account, move it then across the border to my US dollar account in Canada to then pay off my credit card, right? Because I also have money coming in when I sell stuff that goes into my PayPal. So it's a little bit of a hassle. It's a lot of paperwork and like money moving that I don't want to deal with, but I have to if I'm not able to use my PayPal account to pay for stuff. And so these are two cons. They're not small cons, and I would say in the grand scheme of things, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. But my question is there a way to keep all the benefits and all the pros of autopay while also eliminating the cons that I've just talked about? And I think there is. So the way I thought about this problem is pretty straightforward. What is it about shill bidding that is different and makes it more of a problem? And it's pretty straightforward, right? It says it right here in the line. Unpaid auctions. And so if there are unpaid auctions, that will lead to items being relisted, right? And so that got me thinking, is that downside of shill bidding unpaid auctions is that actually a way to roll out autopay in such a way that we can offset the cons. Because my idea is pretty straightforward. Anytime you relist an item, you have to be set up as autopay. You have the benefit of choosing whatever you want on the first time you list an item. Whether it is autopay or no autopay, that's up to you, because you want to give people the option to pay via PayPal. You want to give people the option of combining their shipping, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely, first time you run an auction or first time you list an item, absolutely go ahead, do whatever you want to do. Autopay, no autopay, that's up to you. But anytime you relist an item after it was either unpaid for from an auction or from a best offer, it is auto-enrolled into autopay and you cannot opt out of it. That is the solution, I think, because then it gives everybody a first pass at combining shipping and or using PayPal. But then anytime an item is relisted, which by definition means it has been shill bid and unpaid for, you set up autopay so that the second time that auction or the item is run or listed, it is absolutely forced into autopay. And I think that's a simple solution. It's pretty straightforward. So would love to hear your thoughts and comments on whether or not this is the right way to roll out autopay. But that's how I would do it. First run, first auction, first time listing an item, do whatever you want. Autopay, no autopay. If you need to relist it because the auction doesn't get paid for or someone didn't pay their buy it now or their best offer price, then you must set it up as autopay, and eBay forces that onto you. I think that's how you do this. I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't see a lot of downside to doing it this way because you also address some of the cons here with the combined shipping and not wanting to use a credit card. But maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you as always for listening and watching. I will talk to you all soon. Cheers.